Lagilato Mishpaka, Shimi Akashya Yisrael, Animen Ethmate Shel Yehuda, Tehila Yahweh, Tehila Yahweh Ben Yahweh. Good evening, family. My name is Akazia Yisrael, and I am from the tribe of Yehuda. Praise Yahweh, praise Yahweh Ben Yahweh. So, where we last left off at, in the cross, light and darkness, we were starting to get down upon darkness, which is the devoid or partially devoid of light, not being able to receive the light, neither being able to reflect light, or even be able to transmit light. You can't even see the radiates of that light because it's darkness. And that's what a lot of these elders that are a part of our people, and that's essentially a part of our tribe, because they're not returned into the fold yet. They're trying to make their own fold, and they are going against the God of Israel, Yahweh. And they try to say slanderous remarks about those who follow Yahweh Ben Yahweh, as well as those who follow Yahweh. They try to give Yahweh and Yahweh Ben Yahweh these funny names like Jehovah and Jesus and all of this stuff, which, holds no weight and no value, because for those of us that study, we know how to use etymology to find the sources of the answers, right? And for them, they lack the knowledge. They lack true essential knowledge, right? And when you charge them with statements that prove that their structure has holes and is not aligned, then they arise with evil traits and desires. Why? Because they lack sight. They have not seen that great light. They have not witnessed the great light, for they are in darkness. Why? Because they love darkness rather than light. So when the great light came, they hurried away in the opposite direction, so that they wouldn't be able to see the light, because they don't want to see their own evil deeds be brought to light. But it will. And one thing that we have to take account is with the class of the cross of light and darkness, essentially the foundation and the structure, the whole structure that's built upon the foundation of this class is there's two types of us, of Israel. One who loves the light and wants to come back into the fold of Yahweh. And the other is the ones who love darkness, and they love the evils of this world. So they run from it and they try to dismantle the light, right? But for those of us who are of the light, we seek peace. Peace is a state of tranquility as well as a quiet lifestyle, such as freedom. So without peace, you don't have freedom. Again, as I stated, you have movement. To be in the pale or the stockade in the mind of prison of not knowing the truth, then you lack freedom and you also lack peace. You are diseased. You are at ease. And your mind is always looking for peace, but it can't find it. So you become at ease or diseased, right? But for those of us who seek the true light, Yahweh Ben Yahweh, then we find within him a state of tranquility, a state of quietness, a state of freedom from civil disturbances. We don't let the outside world impact our inside world. And it's not about just being on a mental note, but just in lifestyle in general. I don't care what my neighbor does, as far as his lifestyle, because it's not my lifestyle. His sin don't fall on my head the same as mine don't fall on his. His peace don't disrupt my peace, and my peace don't disrupt his peace, right? Because we all going to have to answer for the things we've done in life, but it's all about change. Because if you can change, then you can also have forgiveness. because the forgiveness is in the change, right? And that's what 2 Chronicles 7:14 is about, which also goes with this class, because like it says in Isaiah 9:2, let's go ahead and just go over there so we can get that verbatim. Hope y'all having a wonderful evening today. The Shabbat just ended an hour ago, an hour and 28 minutes ago. So we just been studying and reading the Building the Strong Foundation book by the Honorable Yahweh Ben Yahweh. All right, so verse. All right, Isaiah chapter 9, verse 2. The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shined. So we were wandering around in the valleys of America, going from religion to religion, group to group, one political party to the next political party, until Yahweh came. And when Yahweh came, he caused a great controversy in the land, which caused a division, right? Which goes right back into the cross, right? And Hosea chapter 4, verse 2 talks more about that. Let's just run over there real quick. I hope y'all having a wonderful, wonderful day. All right? Because again, all of this goes into what we are discovering about the cross, right? So Hosea chapter 4, we're gonna go. I said verse 2. Let's just read verse 4, verse 1, and we'll read through verse 6. Hear the word of the Lord Yahweh, ye children of Israel. For the Lord Yahweh had the controversy with the inhabitants of the land. I wonder why. Because there was no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God Yahweh in the land. Wow, I wonder what was in the land. Well, they were swearing, lying, killing, stealing, committing adultery. They break out and blood touches blood. Therefore shall the land mourn. Wow. And everyone that dwelleth therein shall languish with the beasts of the field and with the fowls of heaven. Yea, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. Yet let no man strive nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priest. Or the priest in this sense is not really talking about a physical priest at a church, but talking about our principality member, meaning a person of power and great authority, right? And it says again, let no man strive nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priest, protest, right? Therefore shalt thou fall in the day, and the prophets also shall fall with thee in the night, and I will destroy thy mother, and my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Well, who was our mother? Our mother before Yahweh was Satan. Because what does Satan do? Satan nurtures, Satan takes care of the child. Satan provides for the child milk. And this milk is the swearing, the lying, the killing, the stealing, the committing adultery, the breaking out of violence, right? Because you follow his philosophy. Therefore, you taking in his wisdom. You follow his sports. So therefore, you take in his knowledge, his entertainment. You follow his law. So therefore, you uphold his law as if it's righteous, right? So Yahweh will destroy that. And he is going to destroy it. Why? Because he's saying, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected the knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. Now, I want to go a little bit back just to bring some closure to this, that Yahweh has not truly casted us all away, but just for those who have sought to try to repel his works, then you in trouble. And I pray that if you still have time to change, you change. But if not, then that's totally up to you, whoever you may be. Okay? Hosea chapter 2, right? Verse 16 says this. And it shall be at that day, saith the Lord Yahweh, that thou shalt call me Ishi. Ishi is husband, right? And shall call me no more Bali. For I will take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name, right? And verse 21 through 23 says, and it shall come to pass in that day that I will hear, saith the Lord Yahweh, and I will hear the heavens, and they shall hear the earth. Verse 22, and the earth shall hear the corn, and the wine, and the soil, and the oil, and they shall hear Jezreel, and I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy. And I will say to them which are not my people, thou art my people, and they shall say, thou art my God, Yahweh. So for us who will return unto Yahweh, we will once again be able to righteously and rightfully be able to call God, our Father, and he will call us his children or his people, right? And again, of course, ties into Romans chapter 8, verse 14, 16, and 17. But that also ties into 2 Chronicles 7:14, because again, it's talking about he will hear from heaven. Well, that goes with again, 2 Chronicles 7:14, when he says, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and seek my face and pray and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, right? So again, it's a process. And this is how we have peace. Praise Yahweh. This is how we find peace. Okay? So freedom is from the disquieting, or is being made opposite of oppressiveness and thoughts of emotion. So you are free from oppressive thoughts and emotions. Freedom is of the mind. You're being freed from annoyance. You're being freed from distraction. You're being freed from anxiety. You're being freed from obsession. You're being put in a tranquility and a serenity type state. And the sensation of the freedom is from any strife or dissension. Now, evil is morally reprehensible. It's a sinful fellow who is wicked, and is due to the actual or as well as imputed bad conduct, which is the character. Now, remember, everything formed has an essential character. It has something of matters that says this is what this is, from its character, its nature, its kind, and sort, right? So we're just giving this to you back to back. Evil, again, is marked by anger, irritability, irascibility, and irascibility is the quality or the state of being irascible, which means evil quality, evil intention, and evil conduct. I mean, that's just a person who's outright evil and they see no fault with the evil that they do. That's just a true-blooded devil. Now, most of us been taught to do wrong, but you have the qualities to do right. If you knew better, you would do better. But for bad people, actual wicked people, they know what they're doing and they have no intent on changing. And those are, of course, on the negative gradient line on our chart, right? That goes up or goes down, which describes your works, or even shows proof of your works through your faith or what you believe in, what goes on in your head, right? So, this is the force in nature that governs and gives the rise to wickedness and sin. Again, nature, for definition, is character, kind, or sort. Now, we have to take a look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 4. It says, and Yahweh saw the light, that it was good. So when he saw the light, he seen the nature of the light. He seen the character of the light. He seen the different kinds of light. And he sorted it out in categories and grouped it. And he said, yeah, this is good. And Yahweh divided the light from the darkness. Now, when you look at saw is a past tense of observation, which is the information recorded and secured, right? By such an act of study, which is to seek knowledge of or by study, is something that is learned in the course of observing things. It's an act or the instance of viewing as well as noting a fact or an occurrence for some scientific or other special purposes. Good is he's seen the moral excellence of good. He's seen the virtuousness of good, the righteousness of good, the poised behavior of good, the high quality that the sorted good collects, the excellence, right? The well-behaved nature that good or light brings forth, how it was honorable and how it was worthy of saying, that's good. It's in good standing. It's educated. It's one that is educated or refined. And refined is to remove the impurities or course of elements from. So that means, again, those of us who walk in darkness, when we come across this great light, then we would take upon ourselves to become refined. You have to jump in that fire yourself, turn the heat up full blast to destroy and to repel all impurities of sin from your character. You are your own Messiah. The Messiah, Yahweh ben Yahweh, came to show you to follow in his example will lead you to this moral refinement process. But you have to do the work. You are your own Savior. The Savior came to show you how to be saved. That's why, again, he is the first begotten, and it's up to you to be the second begotten, because a lot of people like to just think, oh, the Messiah died for my sins. Oh, I can just do whatever I want. No, you can't. You'll go right to hell. Quick, right to hell. Because, again, it's all about you being, from the definition of good, it's all about you being refined. It means you have to remove yourself from sin. Right? Because we all know 1 John chapter 3 verse 4, reproach, transgression is sin, and sin is transgression, which is reproaching against the law. You hate the law, so you sin, and you don't want to be a transgressor, right? You want to be wiser than Solomon, and Solomon was the wisest man, again from 1 Kings chapter 4 verse 31, around all the nations round about him. Here you are here in America, and all the nations are round about you. Now it's time for you to become the wiser of man. That's all around about who's following the devil. And you are needed to be following Yahweh so that you can become 10 times better than all nations again, right? Now, it is skillfully and expertly done. You have to be an expert at self. You need to be able to look at self honestly under that magnifying glass and say, what is my faults? I need to get rid of these faults immediately. Trust me, it is harder than it's easier said than done. It really is, because the mind is the most deceitful beast among the field, and the tongue is a two-edged sword. So you really need to really take in strong consideration the person you are, and be able to divide that and separate yourself from that person and become the person you are called to be. Seriously. Don't leave your salvation up to chance. And divided, again, means to become disunited. You need to separate yourself from friends. Separate yourself from them friends, because they ain't really your friends. They bad people. If you need to separate yourself from family, yeah, they had your back in the day and all of that good stuff. That's great. Guess what? It's today. Today is a new day. If they are bad, you need to separate yourself from them. Right? From video games you may be playing, they may be wicked. It's artificial and it's fake, and no one's really being destroyed or repelled or anything you want to say on that kind of category. If you still getting some kind of emotional rise from it, then it still has control over you in some sort, right? Remember, evil and good is nature, is kind, sort, and character. So just because it's not physically happening, if you're still getting some kind of emotional pull from it, I'm just saying I wouldn't risk it. I stopped playing video games about a week ago, and I plan on to not play them anymore, because it's either lustful, vengeful, or destructive in some form, fashion, or way. And it also wastes your time, which, again, when you look up the definition of kill, it's to waste time. So you're still a killer of yourself. You need to be more practical with your time and learning more about who you are, about who Yahweh is, and how to work his commandments, his demands, his requirements more successfully in our lives, right? divide, again, is the synonym of cross. The cross which was upon Yahweh ben Yahweh died for us, for standing as the pathway of I'm the better path. Follow me, and you will be able to enjoy the many mansions in my Father's house, right? John 14:2. Let's go over there real quick. Praise Yahweh. Hope y'all having a wonderful evening. I know I am. I'm finna make me some more tea here in a second, because I love me some tea. Praise Yahweh. All right, John 14:2. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it was not so, I would have told you. Right? And Yahweh said, and I go to prepare a place for you. Thank you, Yahweh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Yahweh ben Yahweh. Thank you so much. So again, from cross, we have some synonyms for cross. Cross is annoyed, impatient, fault-finding, vexed, cantankerous, snappy, factitious, ill-tempered, disagreeable, touchy, sullen, fretful, crusty, ratty, obnoxious, malicious, overconfident. It's a bad thing to be the synonyms of cross, right? And again, of course, you already know the antonyms for these would be moral attributes. So again, the cross is talking about two types of people are being mentioned here. One who is moral and follows the law of Yahweh, and one who is of the world without the laws of Yahweh. And to prove this, I have the witnesses of Luke chapter 23, verse 26, as well as verse 33 through 47. We're going to take a look at that real quick, just so you can see the two different types of witnesses proving that this is talking about a direction of what you have to choose. Praise Yahweh. All right. I pray that this information is well taken and enjoyable, because this is just to bring to light of how important having good character is. Praise Yahweh, right? So Luke 23, verse 26, as well as 33 through 47. And as they led him away, they laid hold upon one Simon, a Cyrenian, coming out of the country, and on him they laid the cross, that he might bear it after Yahweh ben Yahweh. Okay? So here, go ahead. Somebody else got to bear this cross after Yahweh ben Yahweh. Now, 33 through 47 says, and when they were come to the place which is called Calvaria, there crucified him, and the malefactors, one on the right hand and the other on the left. So again, we have three people. So we have here we have three people. We have the Messiah, who stands as the bridge, right? And then you have two choices. Where you going to go? Are you going to go negative or positive, right? Let's continue. Then said Yahweh ben Yahweh, Father, Abba, Yahweh, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his raiment and cast lots. And the people stood beholding, and the rulers also with them derided him, saying, he saved others, let him save himself, if he be the Mashiach, Yahweh ben Yahweh, the Ben Elohim, or the Son of God. And the soldiers also mocked him, right? The soldiers in this case is going to be these so-called Israelite camps out here that tries to, wrangle and wrestle, as well as hold Yahweh ben Yahweh's name in controversy, to try to speak ill against him and against the works which he performed, all, by the way, from the Bible. So for them to go against his works is to go against the very book that they talking about and proclaiming they believe in. Again, that's how foolish they are. Right? And the soldiers also mocked him, coming to him and offering him vinegar, and saying, If thou be the king of the Hebrews, save thyself. And a superscription also written over him in letters in Greek, Latin, and Hebrew, which is, This is the king of the Hebrews. Right? So, and one of the malefactors which were hanged railed on him, saying, If thou be Christ, save thyself and us. But the other answered, rebuking him, saying, Dost not thou fear Yahweh, seeing thou art in the same condemnation? And we, it says, and we indeed justly, for we receive the due rewards of our deeds. But this man hath done nothing amiss. And he said unto him, Yahweh ben Yahweh, Adonai, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom. And Yahweh ben Yahweh said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise. And it was about the 6th hour, which again 6 represents a strong number, because that's the day of man, when man was created, as well as beast. And there were a darkness over all the earth until the 9th hour. Now 9th represents completion, right? Because it takes a baby 9 months to be born. Here we go. And the sun was darkened in the veil, and the temple was rented in the midst. And when Yahweh ben Yahweh had cried with a loud voice, he said, Abba, Yahweh, into thy hands I command my spirit. And having said thus, he gave up the ghost. Now, when the centurions saw that was done, he glorified Yahweh, saying, Certainly this was a righteous man. And all the people that came together to that sight, beholding the things which were done, smote their breasts and returned. So again, two people was on that cross as well, right? Was on that stand, which is still on that stand right now, still in that courtroom, but finna be judged. One who was like, hey, if I knew better, I would have done better. So please, Yahweh, forgive me. And remember me when you enter into your kingdom. And Yahweh said, understand, I'll remember you, and you shall be with me in paradise. While the other one was just a totally downtrodden, wicked fellow who did not believe, so he would not be remembered, right? Again, there is 2 types, right? There are 2 others that are on the cross with Yahweh. One asked Yahweh ben Yahweh to remember him and was told he would be brought into paradise. That is repentance. The other rebuked denial. Now, part 2 of the cross is carnal, worldly, derogatorily in action, or the manifestation of a man's lower action. When a man is in darkness and he's letting his mind and he's letting lust direct his footsteps, then he is of his lower action. Right? Derogatorily is detracting from the character or the standing of something, expressive of a low opinion. So when you are acting in a carnal way, you are detracting yourself from the character of which you're supposed to act, which is again bring you to a even lower opinion in mind, or even a even lower action, in life. Now, the mind is the element or the complex of elements in an individual that feels as well as perceives, thinks, wills, especially reasons, and organize this consciousness of an organizing organism, right? So for those who are in darkness, who are still dead-minded, this is the spiritual death, or the loss or the absence of the spiritual life, which, deals with the death's door. And these people are snobbish. You can't tell them nothing. They walk around like they do those things. You can't tell these people nothing, right? In Romans 8:6 says, For to be carnally minded is death, and to be spiritually minded is life and peace. There go peace again, right? There go peace again. And we already know if you have peace, you have freedom. And if you have death, then you don't have freedom. You have bondage, because you're going to be stuck in that grave, right? Life is a way or manner of living, which is an animating, shaping force of principles. Anything that shapes, guess what? Has a form. Now we right back here to form, right? I formed the light. I formed the darkness, right? Yahweh formed the peace. He formed evil, right? So The principle of this is an accepted and professed rule of your actions as well as your conduct, which is the fundamental, primary, and the general law of the truth, from which you in all things are derived from. Praise Yahweh. Okay. Death, again, is the state of being dead, also called spiritual death, which is the loss of that spiritual life. Now you are without form. You're going to return back to dust, right? Clay, that's formable, and dust, that's just not formable. It's just many mystical small particles of dirt. Can't do nothing with, right? Romans chapter 8 verse 7 says, because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh, for it is not subjected to the law of Yahweh, neither indeed can be. Again, going right back into the name Jeroboam. You all that have a problem with Yahweh and Yahweh being Yahweh, you try to hold Yahweh's character and controversy and contempt, as if he is wrong, and you out here doing the justice for somebody, but you the one that's standing in opposition to the truth. And you're trying to damn a righteous man. You're trying to damn God himself because you jealous that you not God. You jealous that Yahweh didn't choose you. But you a fool because Yahweh did choose you to be an heir with him. But you want to be the one that gets the big shots though, right? That's what it is. You want to call the shots. Tell you. Enmity is deep-seated dislike or ill will. It's the positive hatred that might be open or concealed. So these people may positively hate you out in the open, like how they be just talking crazy, or they the snakes. They'll smile in your face and the whole time thinking evil in their heart, because they are against Yahweh and Yahweh being Yahweh. Against means, of course, how it sounds, in opposition. They hold hostility as well as in their mind, they in competition with. But how can you be in competition with the Creator? Are you some kind of fool? Right? Subject is owning or the obedience or the allegiance to. They lack allegiance. They don't show any allegiance to the Creator. Right? Obedience is the act or the instinct of obeying. They don't have the instinct to obey the Creator. That's not in their mindset. They can't follow the law, which applies to the position by a sovereign. They don't respect the sovereign one. Right? Romans 8:8. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh. Again, flesh by the extension is the body as opposed to the soul or spirit as a symbol of what is external, or as mentioned, which is kindred of the carnal. Right? So through the idea of exciting emotions, they find it agreeable to go against Yahweh. They find it in their mind to try to find murmurers, like how they did back in Moses' day, to try to go against and separate the true first fruits, because they know they ain't gonna ever be no first fruit, because they trying to hold Yahweh in contempt. They're trying to start trouble. Why? Because they are sottish. They are foolish people. Right? But Romans 8:9 comes in with a strong but ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. And if so be that the spirit of Yahweh dwells in you. Now, if any man have not the spirit of Yahweh being Yahweh, he is none of his. Now, again, we found out from Romans chapter 8, verse 14, 16, and 17 that, well, if you have Yahweh's spirit in you, then Yahweh leads you, right? That's verse 14. Again, verse 16. And if that be the case, then his spirit beareth with your spirit. Why? Because he's bearing the witness that his spirit, his mind, is in you. You have the same mind. And then you become heirs, right? You become rulers. Praise Yahweh. It says so right here. It's right here. Now, the spirit is a divine, inspiring, or animating being, or the influence of the divine influence as an agency working in him, which in the human heart. Now, remember, we learned about agency. Agency is something or someone who is able to produce a certain effect successfully. So when you have the spirit of Yahweh on you, then you have successfully incorporated his will into your life. And now you become one of his what? Children. Look at that. That is wonderful. It's having to hold in the mind and the sight of knowing how to understand and be skilled in, and to dwell and to live, as well as stay as a permanent resident and residing in the fold. Galatians 6:8. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. Again, that's that darkness. You are sowing. That means you working in fleshly matters. You are working in dark matters. You can't transmit light, you can't radiate light. You can't perceive light. You can't do nothing with it. You just straight low action, low opinion, inferior grade, inferior quality all day. Because that's your nature. That's your character. And that's your sort of thing you like to do and be grouped with. You want to be a hood nigga. You think being a gangster is cool, or you think down speaking the Messiah is cool, or you think whatever you think. It don't matter, because what you thinking is low opinion anyway. It don't matter what you think. But for us who soweth our seeds to the Spirit, see, we got a good, great, and holy reward coming, children. It's coming. I promise you. Right? Because you're going to reap what you sow. Praise Yahweh. Galatians 6:9. For us that's walking in this light, don't be weary. It says in Galatians 6:9, let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. Don't go weary. Weary means weak. By implication, don't fail in heart. Don't think it's never gonna happen. We never gonna get there. We gonna get there, I promise you. We close. We real close. Galatians 6:10, as we have therefore the opportunity to stay in remembrance of while we are on this road of the straight and narrow, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. Let us who have the knowledge, who have the study, who have the identity of getting our true names back and have a true, genuine, in deepening relationship with this truth and with this word and with our Abba, Yahweh, and Yahweh being Yahweh, then let us do good together. And this is what's going to keep us well upkept when everyone else around us may be falling out the race. We know that in this opportunity, this great opportunity that we have in our hands of salvation, we know that it's good to do good unto all men. Because that's a reminder that we are on that path of righteousness. And if doing good to all men is us making these videos or passing out pamphlets or talking about the word and, talking to strangers or holding the door open and just saying little remarks like praise Yahweh and praise Yahweh ben Yahweh to strangers, or did you know that, the name of God is Yahweh, and sparking up little opportunities to help expand someone's mind or help bring light to one's life, keep doing it. Because we are called to have many opportunities, and in those opportunities, we are to do good unto all men. See, opportunity is a situation or the condition which is favorable for an attainment of a goal. Good, again, from the Greek concordance, Greek number 18 on page 1599, is benefits, well, properly, beautiful, but chiefly good, moral, valuable, and virtuous. Especially is particularly exceptionally marked. And faith is having the confidence and trust that in a person or thing, belief in Yahweh, or in the doctrines and teachings of Yahweh ben Yahweh. It's all up to us, family. And that is the cross. What side of the ballot will you fall on? Who will you vote for? Yahweh or Halil, which is Satan, Lucifer's real name, Halil? Is it for the spirituality or carnality? The choice is ultimately up to you. But I promise you, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord Yahweh ben Yahweh. And I pray that you choose to do the same as well. If you made it this far in the video, I greatly appreciate it. I pray that you can take something from this. I hope that it was a good one. I enjoyed giving it to you. And I can't wait for the next one. Remember, family, all praises go to Yahweh and Yahweh ben Yahweh. Now we'll give off the Tefillah, which is the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. I'm going to have to turn around because the East is behind me. Tefillah, Avanu, Tabat Shemayim, Yikadar Shemayakar, Tavamakut Teakar, Yer Siri Sonkar, Kavashamayim Kain Badet, Lagan Kukenu, Tain Lanu Hayon, Uslak Lanu, Arkata Inu, Kimochaso King, Gamanatanu, Lakata Inlanu, Ve Altefa Inu, Deni Sayon, Kakar Seinu, Minhara, Kilaka, Hamam Laha, Vegivara, Viteferet, Leolame, Olame, Sila. We thank you, living and eternal King, Yahweh Melchizedek, the King of righteousness. We pray in your holy Hebrew language, saying Tefillah, Tahila Yahweh, Tahila Yahweh, Ben Yahweh, forever. Praise Yahweh. All right, family. Y'all have a good one. Shalom, shalom.